unexpected with some old windows. I just absolutely love old windows and creating new content for you all, showing you some different ideas of what to do, not only with windows, but sometimes there's no glass in windows. So I'll also be sharing a couple ideas with you of what to do with those. So my love of old windows has brought me here to do the unexpected. So we are going to start off with this two-paned. Oh, actually, we're flipped the wrong way, but this is how it's going to stay. So I'm actually going to be making a reverse vinyl letter transfer. So what I'm doing here is I'm using my Cricut to type out the wording that I want. So on the top and the bottom, which actually this is a side-by-side window frame, but I am not going to be using it that way. I'm going to use it as a top and the bottom. And I have an inspiration that I found on Pinterest that I'm getting my wording off. A lot of my wording I'd like to say is original, but I take it from all the inspirations around me. So my main part is to get my big wording, my farm and my supply, and then I'm going to fill it in with the smaller wording, like here I'm doing the tools and equipment, and I'm going to get that all grouped together, and then I'm going to size it appropriate, and I'm going to make it fit underneath the farm. I need to do the same thing underneath the supply. I need to have feed and livestock that fits underneath that grouping. So now that I have them all centered, they're supplied, I actually need to go in and I need to ungroup my bottoms and move my dot, because I don't want that to be like a period. I just want it to be like a little dot in the middle. So before grouping these all together, I need to fix that. And then now my next step is to make sure that my spacing is all equal, that I have that same space underneath the farms and the tool as I have under the supply and the livestock. That now I'm going to start sizing to what I need to size to put it on the window. And then after I get that all done, I'm going to go ahead and group everything together. And then now I'm going to need to flip this. How many of you all thought it was going to be harder to do a reverse on this Cricut? Nope, it's as simple as that. And surprisingly enough, this window is in good shape. The paint job is fine. I don't see any reason to worry about it. Yes, the backside's a little to be desired, but that's the side I'm covering up. So other than cleaning the glass really well and making sure that the glass was secure, which it is, I'm just going to get the glass all spiffied up with some Norwex cloths. So now I have my vinyl lettering all weeded. It's all ready to be put on transfer tape, but I want to make sure I have everything centered. So I just like to cut as close to my lettering as I can, and then I will put masking tape down so I know once I get flipped over and put it on some transfer tape, I know where I can. I don't really want to eyeball it. I don't want it to go crooked. I just want to have a guide of where to lay it. And so I've got a grid pattern underneath that helps, along with the ruler of measuring. Now I like to use this transfer tape that comes in a grid pattern, and I use my piece multiple times so it's not terribly sticky. And because this is so big, I'm going to need 2 of them, because the one that I buy, usually I don't need a huge one, comes in 6 inches. So I just recently happened to go to an auction and I got a whole bunch of chicken feed sacks. So sadly, I really wanted to use that Prina Chow, but once I tried it out, it was just too much going on and taken away from the lettering. So I decided just to go with a straight chicken feed. And if you saw my haul video with these, they were filthy, and I got them for a good deal because nobody wanted them. They didn't even want to touch them, but my hands are washable and I could wash them, and I got it all ironed up and they came very clean. So I'm just going ahead and stapling on. It's like the perfect fit for this window. I like the backs to look just as pretty as my fronts when I'm doing a wall hanging. So it's simple. I just take some of the contractor's paper that we use to cover up our workshop tables, and I hot glue it onto the back. And then after I get it glued on, I just take some sandpaper, sand off the edges where the are meeting the window. That gives it a nice crisp edge. And then we'll go ahead and add some eyelet hangers in a 17 gauge wire because windows are heavy. I want a nice strong wire to have a hanging system on the back of this. I'm going to flip my window over. I'm going to clean that glass. It's really easy to clean because now the vinyl lettering is on the inside. But one of the things that attracted me to this window was that side-by-side windows, even though I flipped it the opposite way, but it had that extra wood, and it is perfect for some of these salvaged hinges. Though the green would have matched that Prina sack perfectly, but I really wanted to show you how to do a reverse lettering if you had not done it before. Now, this is actually just a window frame. Actually, I broke the window out of it accidentally. My camera on my tripod did a face plant into it and broke it. So, of course, can't salvage the glass, but I can reuse the frame. And it's already been painted up, so it's just been waiting to be finished. So, my idea for this piece is I want to put a grapevine wreath in the middle of it, but how do I do that? So I'm actually going to go ahead and put some chicken wire in it to hold my grapevine wreath. So I actually have been working on the same roll of chicken wire for a while, so I just cut off what I need. Just use some wire nips. Make sure you have gloves on. It is sharp, and I actually just buy it at the farm store. Once I have my piece into a more workable piece, I just take it and I take some staples and staple it onto the back of the window. And then after I get it all stapled on, I'm just going to trim off that excess. Now that I have my chicken wire all nice and secure, and now I have something to hang my wreath on, I'm going to take it one step further in that lot of green seed sacks that I had gotten, even though I wasn't really planning on it, but this one was perfect for this use. It is already cut in half. It's a little worse for wear, but it has some beautiful graphics on it.
So yes, it's already been washed, but it is just stained up. So no distressing to this piece. So all I'm doing now is I'm just really off-centering it so it's more of just the stars on it than the wording. And so I'm going to do that same thing where I'm just going to staple it on. And the nice thing about using this piece of fabric is I needed some strips. So now I'm just going to go ahead, I just cut this extra off, and this is probably the worst part of that feed sack is I'm just going to yeah, cut it up into strips. And the nice thing about running across these at an auction is I was just going to be using just a plain old piece of drop cloth, which is beautiful, but this is a way more fun to be able to recycle this piece into something beautiful. Before I can add my wreath to the front, I need to finish my back. So it's the same thing as I did with the previous piece where I used the contractor's paper. I hot glue that on, I sand the edges, I put a hanging system on so that my back is all ready and good to go. Okay, so I'm loving it so far. We got a white frame, we've got some aged chicken wire. Now we have that aged feed sack. And now I'm going to go ahead and attach this. Yes, this was a thrifted grapevine wreath. And so I'm just trying to decide which way it looks the best because I'm going to actually wire this onto the chicken wire. I actually have this black wire, so it is more aged than the shiny new, so this will be perfect when they do a grapevine wreath like this. It actually has other pieces of wire that are wrapped with the brown, so I'm just going to go in with the wire that I cut to attach it to that wire to attach it to the chicken wire of the frame. I have my wreath attached to my chicken wire, and I did like 4 areas so that it was nice and secure. Now here's where the strips come in. So a much older video, I did some rosettes using drop cloth, and so that's what I wanted to do on this. Just some simple rosettes out of this fabric, and these are so simple, y'all. They look intimidating, but they are not. Hot glue, and you just twist your fabric. That's what the strips come in. Yeah, you just twist it and then you just make it, wrap it around in a circle. So hot glue it on. The fabric takes the hot glue really well, and it doesn't have to be just, you know, little dots here and there. So all I do is as I'm working around my circle, I just keep twisting my fabric and then giving it a second to dry, to cool, so that I'm not lifting my fabric back off. But it just is absolutely gorgeous, especially since I can coordinate it with that back fabric because it's pieces of the sack. Oh my goodness, they are so gorgeous. I love the little specks of blue that you can see. So now I'm just putting some hot glue on the back. I'm going to make 3 big ones, and then I'm going to make some smaller ones just off to this one side here. Now to make the smaller ones, what I'm doing is as you see, I folded the fabric strip in half, and it's going to be a little bit chunkier of a rosette. But I also would like to leave a tail. So let's just see how this goes. Now that I added my rosettes, I've got my tails on, and I actually want to use another piece of the fabric to look like it's hanging off of this frame. And plus it's going to help lift it because I knew that gravity would start to pull the wreath down. So I hung it up. I wanted to double check for that. And I'll just go ahead and put a couple staples and attach it to the back. Here is another window frame without windows, without glass. So it is a beautiful 6-pane. Oh my goodness. And it still has the locking hardware on it, though it's not the color that I would usually paint, but right now we're just at the starting process. So an idea is to add some galvanized behind it. And I don't know, finding recycled old galvanized in this area, people do not, either they recycle it to the metal recycling or they sell it for a lot of money. So now actually Home Depot is selling project pieces, they call them, and that is what this galvanized is, though it is really shiny. And so I need to age it because I would like it not to be so shiny. So first off, the New Age galvanized, they put a wonderful coating on it so it doesn't rust. And for us crafters, we want it to rust. So I'm going to start off with just starting off to sand it, trying to get that top coating off. And yep, I have a hazmat situation going on here. I'm going to combine all these chemicals and put it on that galvanized and then let it sit overnight in the hope in the morning I'll wake up to rust. So yeah, so I have the vinegar, the hydrogen peroxide, and the bleach in a spray bottle, and I'm spraying that on there now. And then I will sprinkle the coarse salt on top of that, and then Chris is pulling apart steel wool pieces to put on top of that, and then we're going to cover it up with plastic and let it sit overnight. And like I said, I hope I wake up to rust in the morning. That's kind of funny to say, isn't it? And I know the longer I would have let it sit, the longer or the more chances I might have had rust. But I am impatient and I like to work on a project. And it took me this long to find a piece of galvanized and only to find out that Home Depot sells them. So anyway, this is what the steel wool rusted. It looks like it's rusted, but once you actually lift it up, it did make spots. Of course, I was hoping for the patina of rust, but I'll take the spots. Well, at least I don't have shiny metal anymore, so I'll take what I have. So I'm going to use this rust product that I've used in the past. I'm still working on the same container, so I don't know if I'm going to have enough to do what I need to do. And then I went to reorder it, and it like tripled in price. What the heck? So, oh well, I'll use up what I have and we'll see what it does. So this is the primer. I need to add 2 coats of this primer, and then after the primer dries with the help of a heat gun, I'm going to go in with the iron, and then you do 2 coats of the black, which is the iron. And then after the 2 coats of iron and that's dry, heat gun applied to help it dry, you add this patina spray. The one thing I was not expecting when I added the patina spray, look what it did to the rest of the galvanized. Though I had thoroughly washed my galvanized off after the chemical I had put on it. I'm like, oh, I've got spray marks. So I stopped. I didn't add any more of the patina spray to it. And I have more patinas that I have tried in the past in my cupboard. So now I'm going to go on to those patinas and try to make more rust. You know, that's what I get for hurrying a project along and not just letting it do what it does. So this is making the rust that I want, but unfortunately I need to blend in those spray marks. So I love this rust. I actually did order more of this after the fact, and that had not increased in the price at all, so I don't mind ordering this again. I don't know about you all as crafters, I like to try different products. So after blending this all in, I'm going to go in with the brown rust patina and try to blend in this overspray. Then I'm going to go ahead and seal this in after I got it the way that I want it with some weather defense. So this shouldn't change the color at all. And I know that probably seemed like a lot of work, but it was more work letting it sit overnight. And it was actually kind of fun. I felt like a true artist just creating a blob of rust. And now Chris is going to go ahead and take some recycled wood from a pallet and some other pieces to create a shelving system. Actually, it's not going to be just a piece of galvanized behind a window. It actually is going to be some useful shelving that's going to have the unexpected type of look of this window pane. So he's just measuring off what he needs to cut the wood down to make the frame. Now to assemble the frame shelf, he's going to do some Titebond glue and some brad nails. That'll make it nice and sturdy, and these are nice thick pieces of wood. I talk about shifting gears, and here's where he had to shift his gear. The brad nails were not going to be strong enough for these big massive pieces of wood, so he's actually going to put a couple screws in. That's going to make the attachment, the wood, way more sturdier. So after he got that all in place, he's actually going to drill a hole, and he's going to use some older nails to really do the age of this piece. So he's going to pre-drill some holes, put some nails in, and then after he gets the nails in, he's going to take that new screw out and put a nail in its place. So the screws were actually just temporary. So now he has to add the shelf frame to the window frame. So he's using a reset bit on his drill. So what that does is it countersinks into the wood, and so when you go to put a nail in or a screw in, it will lay underneath the wood and be flat. So this is perfect to come up with the idea of not using some of the old nails and screws that we have laying around from auctions. So it's just nice to keep that little character, and it's just a nice personal touch. The one thing about the project piece of galvanized that I bought from Home Depot, if you could find a perfect fitting window, would be, yeah, wouldn't that be nice? But no, it didn't. It was longer on the one way and then shorter on the other way, so he's actually making a little frame inside. I'm going to paint this so it's not any worries here, but so that the galvanized doesn't move back and forth. So this will just kind of stop it from falling in. Now on the new pieces of wood that he added, I'm just going to cover those up and stain them with my Waverly Antiquing Wax, my watered down mixture, where I add a little bit of the black ink by Waverly to it, so it's a little bit more of a gray, so this will tone down that really bright of that new pine wood. This frame actually has a heavy top coat on it, so I need to remove that before I can paint it so it'll accept my paint. So I'm not going to worry about sanding the palette wood right now. I just want to get this top coat off this frame. Now I purposely left the palette wood raw and unsanded because I want to have lots of character going on. And so no, I am not painting this. I'm actually applying school glue. So I want to have a wonderful crackle. I've been aged finish on this. So yes, I'm just painting school glue over the entire thing. After I get all the glue applied, I am got Kills Paint and Primer in white and flat in my TrueCoat 360 handheld sprayer, and I am going to spray the entire piece, trying to get all those angles that are not easy to get with a sprayer, but this is a one coat coverage when it comes to doing the crackle effect with the Elmer's glue. So I'm just going to get it applied and then let it dry. So now I let this completely dry overnight, and now I'm going to go back in with my sander and give it a little bit more distressing. And I'm happy with the way I distressed it, and I got the areas nice and smooth. That was another reason I wanted to sand it. Chris is going to go ahead and attach the back, but like I said, if it was a perfect fit, it would be wonderful, but it is not. So he does have some of the metal he needs to cut down.
So what did you think of today's unexpected makeovers of some old windows? Oh my goodness, a simple reverse, sharing with you if you don't know how to do a reverse stenciling wording on the back of a window, covering that up with just some simple cloth and adding some old hardware that's just been laying around. No painting on that one, God wink moment there. And then we got that second one, and yet again, I ran across those seed sacks, and that one was way worse for wear. But you know, when you're adding patina to make a drop cloth look old, it's actually nice to find a vintage one that it's been washed, but it had those beautiful stars and those rosettes. I just absolutely love. I don't come across an idea very often to do the rosettes on, so it's nice when I get inspired to do those. And then, yes, Chris is just amazing as helping me, making the shelf, making my vision come true of what I envisioned for that old 6-panel frame. Just absolutely gorgeous. Oh, it's just gorgeous. what a great place to have all your littles. Anyway, so give me a quick comment down below. Have I inspired you to look at old windows in a new way? And as always, which one of the three were your favorites? And thank you again for being part of our YouTube family. And if you are new to our channel and you like secondhand makeovers, hit that subscription button along with the notification bell so you know we've uploaded a new video. And we will see you next time, guys. And you can see what we're up to. Bye!